My shoulder gets tired.
Guys, okay?
I'm knocking it down.
Coach, how'd that scrimmage go today?
It was good. It was good. Very competitive.
What exactly were you looking to see from
You know, a competitive day, and you know, we're working on 3 things that are going to be very important for the next series: transition defense, taking care of the ball, and rebounding. And so, you know, we concentrated on those things. We had some reductions if some of those things were not done well, and so it was good. It's productive.
Speaking, good.
How anxious are you guys to get back on the court? And it's just been like a training camp this week.
In some ways. I mean, we got to get the right amount of rest to stay fresh, and then we got to get the right amount of work in to keep our edge. So today was a very competitive day, and so, you know, depending on the outcome tonight, you know, we've got to plan for the next 2 or 3 days, depending on who wins.
Would you like to see that series go 7 to get a couple extra days, or
Doesn't matter.
You want more days?
Huh?
You want more days?
Whatever happens, happens.
Take tomorrow off. I'm just kidding. Speaking of rebounds, Dirk rebounded very well against the Lakers, and he did in the regular season as well, double-digit rebounding, when overall his rebounds were down. Something about that matchup, or do you see Dirk? Was it just?
Well, he needed the all-time leading rebounder for the franchise.
I believe that's true.
Yeah, he's a good rebounder.
Right.
Yeah, he rebounds well. I mean, that's one of the things he does well in our defensive system. So, you just talking about matchups?
No, I'm just saying overall his rebounding numbers were down this year. Maybe the ankle has something to do with that during that stretch. But against the Lakers, he was a double-digit
Well, he played
rebounder.
less minutes this year too. So I mean that'll be a factor. But look, he's one of our best defensive rebounders, and when he's around the basket, he's a pretty good offensive rebounder too. He's just, you know, because he spaces so frequently, he's not around the basket much, you know, for offensive boards.
Rick, how much have you guys kind of gotten the process going as far as scout report and game plans for either or?
We're scouting 2 teams, you know, so we're collecting a lot of information and looking at a lot of things, and you know, we've just got to be ready when the time comes to pull the trigger on one team or the other to get ready to, you know, for an intense prep day.
Have you discussed either team with your guys, your players, or is that just something that's being done at the scouting and coaching level at this point?
Well, we've talked about both teams in general terms, and there are some significant similar things that we're going to have to do well, regardless of who we play. You know, I mean, taking care of the ball, transition defense, and rebounding, three major things, whether it's Oklahoma City or Memphis. And so, you know, a lot of talk about it, a lot of work on things in practice directly related to those things.
So those are 3 things that you emphasize no matter who the opponent is all year, aren't they?
Well, it's going to be more important in this series because of the ability of these 2 teams to force turnovers. You know, Portland and LA were great rebounding teams, and that was a huge emphasis. And you never want to turn the ball over, but you know, neither one of those teams force turnovers or get as many steals as these 2 teams do. And you know, that said, you know, make or miss or turnover, you know, you got to get back fast, because both of these teams are you know, firing, you know, major athletes at you, you know, great speed and quickness at, you know, 3 or 4 positions. And so it's just transition defense has got to be a mindset, just like rebounding, and then taking care of the ball. You know, it kind of goes without saying, but if we turn the ball over in this next series, we'll lose. I mean, it's as simple as that.
What's been the challenge for you this week of making sure your team not only gets the proper amount of rest, but the proper amount of game preparation? What's been the challenge for you as a coach, making sure that the team gets the amount of rest?
Just the spacing of, you know, the workouts and the intensity of the workouts, and you know, making sure that we're concentrating on the things we need to concentrate on. You know, I don't mind the time off. I mean, it's just a matter of putting it to to work for us, so that we get the most out of it.
Speaking of time off, Oklahoma City closes out the night. Your game 3 up there has been switched to next Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to talk about Game 3 of the next series until we even know who we're playing.
Rick, on the subject of handling time off.
I'm sorry?
On the subject of handling the layoff, anything you've learned throughout your career as either a player, an assistant, or a head coach you've been able to incorporate into what you've done this week?
We had a 12-day layoff my first year in Indiana as a head coach, and so we had to deal with it then. So I'm drawing on some of that experience. He was ready to step into them, So too often people will look at percentages or averages and whatever and draw judgments. We need him to do so many more other things than just score the ball, and he's done them.
Along those lines, Jason Kidd, fans look at points and assists and evaluate based on that. But with him, can you talk about some of the other elements that make him such a vital piece of the job?
Well, there's all the things that he does on the court, skill-wise, running the break, shooting the ball, finding people, playing defense, getting deflections, causing havoc defensively. And then there are the intangible things, the leadership, the experience, how that translates into an advantage for our team, and how he can, how he keeps guys engaged, and ready to play. If somebody makes a mistake, it's dropping their head a little bit. He makes sure they come right out of it. And hey, as we've seen in these playoffs and so many other years, that this is a 48-minute game, and you gotta play the whole 48. And he's one of the guys that makes sure our guys do.
How does that whole package help you? There are certain things that you defer to him, like some of that picking up guys in game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, a lot of it is letting him do what he does, and I mean that's what you got to do if you have that kind of player.
Is his basketball IQ?
Savant-like.
No, I mean, is Larry Bird up in that caliber?
Yes. Stockton, Jordan.
That handful of guys.
Yes. Magic Johnson.
Can you say that 12-day layoff? Can you say what specifics you've been able, you learned from that you've applied here to keep your team mentally on the edge, mentally and physically? What specific things you've done during this layoff?
Well, we've rested at times, and then we've had today we had a competitive game, with referees, and it was it was competitive. And our guys go at it hard against each other, and so it was you got to do those kinds of things to keep the edge going.
Both mental and physical.
Yeah. Yes. Quote me on that if it's not mental and physical. Mental and physical.
Come on, man. Come on. You get a box in the scrimmage today.